Of course, the last one is more difficult, most difficult. That should be a letter C, by the way. I probably cut and pasted and then just forgot the letter. Okay? So, standard form. I love it. It is in standard form. Now, some of you go, well, I've learned how to go from standard to vertex. When am I going to learn how to go from vertex to standard? Just breathe. We'll get there. Okay? So, I'm going to do things that I think are easier right now for me. So, the easiest thing for me to do is to find out that this thing is actually going down. Well, if it's down, what does that mean the vertex is? A min or a max? Oh, it's a max. Okay. I can find the y-intercept really quickly. Who remembers how to do that? Ah, -2. I'm one of those people that I like to fill in the stuff that's totally no problem, and then it gives me a little bit of, okay, domain, everything right, everything left. All real numbers. Oops. Now, the problem is we can't get the rest without that darn vertex. The vertex has a lot of power, which is why vertex form has a lot of power. Okay? What was the first thing I had you do? The first thing I had you do was I had you move that number over. There's a problem, though, because if I tried to make my box and I had a negative x squared, let me put that in, and that was x and that was negative x, it's not a square. A square has every side and every part of the side exactly the same. So I've got to make that x squared positive. So there's a couple different things I can do. I think the easiest thing to do is just divide everything by -1. So I'm going to do that. If you've got another way, you go for it. But we got enough going on our plate. We probably don't need something else. Okay. Now I can put the x squared because it's positive xx. Take this, split it in half. I made that box too small. -2x, -2x. Sorry about that. -2, -2. And then I go, hey, what is -2 times -2? 4. So I'm going to go +4, +4. And now I look at my box. Oops. Which is x minus 2 equals -2 plus 4 is 2. What do? Oh, wait, sorry. I'm putting it in. My little brain was just being a little robot. What do I want? Vertex form. Okay. We got a problem, though. And here's the problem. The problem is we didn't acknowledge that negative. So if that negative was there in the beginning, we got to make sure that we put it in at the end. Okay? And then if we're doing that, I think we change everything back. Hold on, let me pause it really quick. And if I'm going to give the negative back to this group, I got to give it back to this group. So if you give something for one, you got to give it for all. It's a reflection. So that means this is also getting reflected. Now I can put it in vertex form. Okay, we'll work on this more, don't worry. That means your vertex is 2, 2. I like that. Now I can do my range, right? Because if this is 2, 2, and it's going down, that means y is less than or equal to 2, and we're going towards negative infinity. Now in interval notation, you always put the smallest first, and negative infinity is way smaller than 2. Now if I'm going to do the x-intercept, so let me go like this. That was my vertex. Let's do my x-intercepts. And some of you go, Ms. Rifkin, let's do the magic x. We did it here. We did it here. So let's do it here. Okay, the problem is that's negative. Even if you get rid of the negative and you try to magic x it, you can't think of two numbers that multiply to get 2 and add to 4. And then you go, why don't we just do the quadratic formula? Okay, honestly, you're going to pick the quadratic formula over just doing this. Which I think this is a lot easier. So now I get x minus 2 equals. Now here's how it's different. The reason you couldn't, I knew you couldn't magic x it is because it doesn't square root perfectly. If it square roots perfectly, you should have magic x'd it. It would have been quicker. Okay? Well, unless you want to do this, whatever. But if you can't square root it, you leave it. And now you add 2, you add 2. Now, if I asked you for the algebraic answer, this is it. Okay? I gotta find my phone. But it's not. So we're going to pick up our calculator. Give me a second to get that. So I put it in my calculator. Hopefully you can see that. 2 plus rad 2, 341. 2 minus rad 2, 58. So I have 341. That's my x. And I has 58. Okay? So now I'm going to write that as points. 0.58, comma 0. Yes, you could have done the quadratic formula and gotten the same thing. Okay, let's see what's going on in the next page. Okay, let me figure out the homework and we'll go over it. So again, I'm not always going to go over every homework problem, but it's the second week, so we need to make sure you're good to go. So you're either going to factor, but if you can't factor, you're going to do the quadratic formula. The issue with this, it's got to say equals 0. So you're going to have to move this over, equals 0. Move this over, equals 0. Move this over, equals 0. And then you might be able to factor it. Let's see what happens. All right, let's go to the next one. This next one, you want to find the vertex by averaging the x-intercepts. I'm actually going to do letter A for you, so I'm going to transfer over. Okay. When you're doing a graph, and this is review, but it's okay, so I can always do videos or whatever. So let's say I make a graph. Let's say this is my x-intercept and this is my x-intercept. Remember how the y values match? Well, if the y values match, what's got to be in the center? The vertex. Well, if it's in the middle, what do you think is in the middle of 3 and 7? 5. So I just got the x value of my vertex. What if I have -2, 0 and 8, 0? And I go, okay, I want to find the vertex. This was a horrible graph. Let me make it a little bit better, because -2, 0 would be here, and 8, 0 would be here. I have other good qualities. Okay, we're going to say that's in the middle. It's not perfect, but you get the game. Remember, the vertex is what's in the middle, so you're trying to find what is halfway between -2 and 8. Boom. So I know the x value of the vertex is 3. And some of you go, isn't there a formula? Of course there's a formula. Let me tell it to you. You figure out the distance between those two. So the distance between -2 and 8 is 10, but it's half the distance. Divide that, and that's 5. 8 minus 5 is 3. Another way to do it is just go 8 minus 2 is 6, divided by 2, 3. So when we're doing letter A, which was x minus 3, x minus 11, we need to figure out what's halfway between 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. What's halfway between 3 and 11? Boom, 7. So all I taught you how to do was get the x value of your vertex. To get the y value of the vertex, what you're going to do is you're going to take this and plug it in. So 7, oops, you can't see that. 7 minus 3, 7 minus 11, 4 times -4 is -16. Okay? What if I had this? Instead of y equals x minus 3, x minus 11, I had y equals x minus 3 squared minus 11. Now, my equation is in vertex form. Boom. I can just get the vertex right away. So this is called factored form because it's already been factored. So in factored form, you find out what's halfway between. In vertex form, you can just get the vertex. Okay? So when they say what's graphing form, they want vertex form. So find the vertex and then put it in vertex form. Okay? So one of them's already in vertex form, but this one you got to do work, like completing the square. Okay. This, I don't know if you guys remember this stuff. So again, I will go over it. Let me get my little, I'm going to do letter A for you. Let's see, I'm guessing they want X. Okay. So let me get this, go here. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because I know it's harder to see. And let me zoom it in. So this is when you're using trig, sine, cosine, tan. There's different ways you learned it. Some of you learned SOHCAHTOA. Opposite, hypotenuse. Adjacent, hypotenuse. Opposite, adjacent. Okay? Adjacent means you're right next to. Hypotenuse is always, and I was telling my students, hypotenuse is always long side. So who's long side? Long side is either sine or cosine. So if you have long side, the hypotenuse, the one that doesn't touch that cute little L, then it's automatically sine or cosine. Tan is out. If you had this, and the 20 was here, and the 15 degrees is here, this time, what do you not have? You don't have long side. Boom, it would be tan. So this one would automatically be tan because you don't have long side. This one does have long side, so it's either sine or cosine. So which one is it? Okay, well, this is long side. That covers the hypotenuse. Adjacent is literally right next to. Opposite is across. So that means it's opposite. We're dealing with sine. So now that I know it's sine, it's going to be sine of 15 equals x over 20. How do you solve? Multiply both sides by 20. And then I would put in my calculator 20 sine 15, and I'd get an answer. Hopefully that helped. We'll find out if I have got to do more work on that. Okay, this next one, they want you to find the point of intersection, set them equal to each other, or graph it. I mean, but seriously, no, don't graph it. That's a 30 and a 50. No way. Okay, this we've done before. This, I think it's the same thing. If you know this, how many degrees are in a line, you know this. Now you can find y and x doing sine, cosine, tan. This is solving for x. Let me know if you need help with that, but that's something that you need to be good at. This one, you know, oh, this is x cubed. So this is not going to be a u. This is going to be a squiggle. So I would encourage you, cheat a little bit and go on Desmos and see if you can graph it, or just plug it in and do some points. Okay? I think that covers it all. Hopefully that helps out.